Good day, children. Hope you all are doing well. Today, let us go on with Unit 4 Supplementary with the photographer written by Stephen Leacock. Story is very interesting, children. If you listen to the video part carefully, for sure the story is interesting. Okay. Let us start with the warm-up, children. Photographers capture memorable moments. They fill us with nostalgia. Now, obviously, no, children, photographs. Why do we take photographs, children? To cherish our memorable moments. We do take photos to cherish our memorable moments. Now, let us discuss with the following questions, children. What are the occasions when photographs are taken? We take photographs. Why do we take, when do we take photographs, children? Now here, for example, they have given birthday parties they have given. Then next, when do we take photograph? When do we take photos? Some other, you can list out the occasion, children. When do you take photos? No, you can list out the occasion when all the photo is taken. We take photos during school annual day, school sports day, or any field trip, or farewell party, then festival celebration, wedding celebration, then any other family functions. For all this we take photos. See, here some photos are given. We either like to have our family photos or nature photos. We do take photos. To cherish our past memories, we take photos. Now, why are photographs taken? See, here they have given an example, children, to freeze our favorite moments. Then the remaining column you can fill up as to compare our past and present. Then to apply for a job, to show it to others. Like this, you can fill up, children. The remaining thing, you can fill up by yourself. Okay. Here is a story with the photographer where the narrator visits a studio to have his photograph taken. His experience with the professional photograph turned out to be an unforgettable one. Now, what is the story is, children? Children, it's about a photographer. The narrator, he visits photo studio he visits to take his photo. But that experience, along with the photographer, he has an unforgettable experience. We'll see what is that unforgettable experience. Is the experience really good experience or worse experience? What experience does the narrator had? We'll see. Now, who is the narrator here? Narrator in the sense author. Who is the author? Stephen Leacock. A silent, children. You should not stress A over there. It is Leacock. I want my photograph taken. I said. The photographer looked at me without enthusiasm. He was a drooping man in a grey suit with the dim eye of a natural scientist. But there is no need to describe him. Everybody knows what a photograph is like. Now, narrator, children, he went to the photograph shop to take his photo. He went over there and he said that he wished to take his photo. Over there, in that studio, this photographer, he looked without enthusiasm. He was not interested to pay any attention on the narrator. He was a drooping man. What do you mean by drooping man? Drooping in the sense bending man. Maybe little bit aged fellow he might be. And with the dim eyes of a natural scientist. But there is what the narrator says, children. It's not necessary for you to describe how the photographer. You all would have seen in films. All you would have seen how the photographer is. Somewhat aged person with long suit. You can see in next page, children. See, I'll show you how the photographer is. Wait, see, you can see how the photographer wearing long coat with cap, then a little bit aged fellow. You can see the studio, how the studio is. That's what he says, not necessary to describe the photographer, as you all have seen. Now sit there, he said, and wait. The moment narrator entered the studio, he said he wished to take his photographer, but photographer, without showing any interest on him, he asked narrator to sit over there, and he asked him to wait. I waited an hour. I read the Ladies' Companion for 1912, the Girls' Magazine for 1902, and the Infants' Journal for 1888. I began to see that I had done an unwarrantable things in breaking in on the privacy of this man's scientific pursuits with a face like mine. Now, what do you mean by unwarrantable? Unwarrantable in the sense illegal. And scientific pursuits in the sense guess, just guessing. Now, narrator, for a long time he was sitting over there. So he thought, let me read some magazines. Some magazines were placed over there, children. He had different types of old magazines. He didn't had any new magazines of the present days. He had old magazines for various group of people he had. For young girls he had, then for infant and for ladies. For various stage people he had various magazines. Now narrator sitting over there quietly, for 1 hour he had read all the magazines over there, and now narrator, he feels he really felt boring. This fellow has not turned up still. At that time, after an hour, the photographer opened the inner door. Come in, he said severely. I went into the studio. Sit down, said the photographer. Now after 1 hour, photographer, he came out and he called narrator to come in. And that also, in some severe tone, in a serious tone, he asked him to come in. Then narrator, he went inside the studio. He asked him to sit in a place, and finally he sat there. I sat down in a beam of sunlight filtered through a sheet of factory cotton hung against a frosted skylight. The photographer rolled a machine into the middle of the room and crawled into it from behind. Now, photographer, he asked narrator to sit in a particular place. He sat over there. It might be some 2 rooms, children, in that studio. The studio had 2 rooms. One room is to take photos. The other room is for people to wait over there. Now, when narrator, he came inside, he sat on the bench. He was made to sit on a bench. And over there, out of the room, there was a curtain through which sunlight was just passing through the curtain. The photographer rolled a machine into the middle of the room and crawled into it from behind. Now, photographer, he just rolled the machine. He had the rolling machine over there in the room, which means he was trying to adjust the camera. That is the meaning here. Not that rolling any machine, children. He is trying to adjust the camera. He was only in it a second, just time enough for one look at me, and then he was one again, tearing at the cotton sheet and the window panes with a hooked stick, apparently frantic for light and air. What do you mean by frantic, children? Frantic in the sense mad. Okay. He was only in for a second, just for one look at me, just for few minutes it is. He was out again, tearing at the cotton shade. He made narrator to sit over there, and this man, he was moving here and there, doing something. He was trying to adjust the room. He was setting the room for the perfect camera. He was out again, tearing at the cotton sheet and the window pane with his hook stick, which means this photographer, he was going in and out, making things all clumsy, just like like mad person he was behaving over there. Now, then he crawled back into the machine again and drew a little back cloth over him. himself. This time he was very quiet in there. I knew that he was praying and I kept still. Again, no, this photographer, he went here, there, moving the machine again, drawing it front, then back. He was trying to do certain work. Then after adjusting the camera, no, he went near to the camera. He covered himself with a little black cloth. And narrator, he thought that this camera fellow, no, he was praying over there. Actually, he was not praying, children. See, you could see in the film, in the picture, you could see this photographer. No, he is trying to see the view through the camera. That is the camera capturing the narrator face properly? His full picture is captured properly. Yeah? He is trying to view that, no, covering his face with black cloth. He is trying to view, and what he thought. That is what the narrator thought. This fellow is standing and praying over there. Will anyone pray like this? That is what he thought. And he kept still. Still, narrator, no, he was quiet. He didn't move from his place. He was sitting in attention. When the photographer came out at last, he looked very grave and shook his head. What do you mean by grave, children? Very serious. Now, after adjusting everything, no, photographer, he came out of that cloth, no, from that place he came out, and he looked very serious. Who looked serious? This photographer, he looked very serious, and he shook his head. Who shook his head? Photographer shook his head. Why did he shake his head? We'll see. The face is quite wrong, he said. I know, I answered quietly. I have always known it. He sighed. I think, he said, the face would be better 3/4 full. No, photographer, no, he came out of the cloth and he said to the narrator, no, your face is not that much good. Your face is quite wrong. And narrator, he said, yes, I know what I am, I know. Obviously, children, when anyone says no, that your face is not good, your face is like this or like that, just imagine if we were in the narrator place, how will we feel of it? We'll really feel awkward, isn't it? The same way even narrator felt, but he did not put his expression out. I am sure he would, I said enthusiastically, for I was glad to find that the man had such a human side to him. So would yours. In fact, I continued, how many faces one sees that are apparently hard, narrow, limited, but the minute you get them 3/4 full, they give wide, large, almost boundless in. What do you mean by boundless, children? Boundless in the sense limitless it is. Now, narrator, no, children, he sighed and he said, narrator said, he said that no, his face would be better if it is 3/4 full. Photographer, no, he suggested him, if your face is 3/4, no, then your film will really be good. He suggested, and that's what narrator also said. Yes, even I too hope the same. Now, this narrator, no, he was really enthusiastic, and he agreed to him. He agreed to the thought of the photographer, because he thought photographer, no, he has such a human side towards him. Narrator thought the photographer is really, trying to make a good photo of narrator. That is why he keeps saying in such a way that his face seems to be wrong, narrow or hard apparently. He was saying certain negative things he was saying about narrator's face, and narrator, he thought photographer, he really wants to take good photo of him, and that is why he really feels for his face. Thinking this, he didn't get angry on photographer, but the photographer had ceased to listen. He came over and took my head in his hands and twisted it sideways. I thought he meant to kiss me, and I closed my eyes. but I was wrong. Now later on what happened, this photographer again he went inside the machine, where he placed his machine. He went there again, he went inside the cloth, he tried to adjust the camera, again he came out, he ceased to listen. Ceased in the sense he stopped to listen. The photographer, he had stopped to listen what the narrator was saying. He was stopped listening, and instead he took photographer's face in his hand, photographer's head. He hold photographer's head and he tried moving his head this side to that side, various sides he tried moving his head. And narrator, he thought as if the photographer has come close to him to kiss him. But in real sense, why this photographer went close to narrator? To make him clear that his face is not good. Whose face is not good? Narrator face is not good. He twisted my face as far it would go and then stood looking at it. Now what narrator did? What photographer did? He took narrator's face in his hand. He started twisting his face this side to that side. And he kept on looking at his face. He was staring at narrator's face. He sighed again. I don't like the head, he said. Then he went back to the machine and took another look. Open the mouth a little, he said. I stared to do. Close it, he added quickly. Then he looked again. Now this photographer, he was doing all silly things, all irritative things he was doing. And the action what all photographer was doing, this was irritating the narrator. He said, I don't like the head. He said, in your entire body, everything is good, but your head is not good. Then he went to the machine. Photographer, he went near to the machine. Again he came back to him. Again he went to the machine and he asked narrator to open his mouth, then close his mouth. Then he asked him to look here, look there. So many commands he was giving, and this really irritated the narrator. Now he was irritated. So long he thought, okay, the photographer is trying to do something good, but this time he was really vexed. The narrator, he was vexed. The ears are bad, he said. Drop them a little more. Thank you. Now the eyes. Roll them in under the lids. Put the hands on the knees, please. And turn the face just a little upward. Yes, that's better. Now just expand the lungs. So, and hump the neck. That's it. And just contract the waist, and twist the hip up towards the elbow now. I still don't quite like the face. It's just a trifle too. Full butt. What do you mean by trifle, children? Trifle in the sense bit. A little bit also I don't like your face. That is what the photographer said. Now this time, photographer once again he went back to his place and he said, your ears are bad. Your condition of the ears, it is bad in your face. And then he asked him to drop his ears little bit. Then he asked him to roll his eyes inside the eyelids. Under the eyelids, he asked him to roll his eyes. Whose eyes? Narrator's eyes. Then he asked him, put your hands on the knees. Sit straight. Then expand your lungs. And hump the neck, that is. And then contrast the waist. So many things he kept on saying. Who was saying this? Photographer. He was going on saying, do this, do that. Keep your body like this. Keep your hand like that. Close your eyes. Open your eyes. He was keeping on giving a command to the narrator. And he said, I don't like your face. Little bit too, I don't like this face. Your face is not at all in good shape, he said. I swung myself round on the stool. Narrator, he was really angry. He went round the stool, where the place where he was sitting. Photographer, he was telling him, turn that side, turn towards right, turn towards left, sit straight, sit front. He was keeping on giving commands to the narrator. Stop, I said with emotion, but I think with dignity. This face is my face. It is not yours, it is mine. I have lived with it for 40 years and I know its faults. I know it's out of drawing. I know it wasn't made for me. But it's my face, the only one I have. I was conscious of breaking it, my voice, but I went on such as it is. I have learned to love it. And this is my mouth, not yours. These ears are mine. And if your mission is too narrow, here I started to rise from the seat. Now, narrator, no, he was really angry. He got angry to the action what this photographer, he kept on doing. No, narrator, he was really angry. He said, no, narrator said to photographer, stop doing all your nonsense thing. Never talk bad of my face. My face is mine. I have lived with this face for 40 years. I have lived, and I know what is the fault in my face, which means the narrator says, I know, which means he knows how good his face is, and that's not necessary for a photographer to describe his face. He doesn't want anyone to talk bad about his face. And he really got angry. Who got angry? Narrator, no, he was out of his control. And no, he said, this is my mouth, not your mouth. It's my ears, my eyes, everything it is mine. If your mission is too narrow, better I'll move from here. Saying that, no, he got up from his seat. The photographer had pulled a string. The photograph was taken. I could see the machine still staggering from the shock. What do you mean by staggering? Staggering in the sense shaking. I think, said the photographer, pursuing his lips in a pleased smile, that I caught the features just in a moment of animation. Now, meanwhile, no, when the narrator he was about to leave, photographer he compelled him, he asked him to sit, and the photo was taken. No, within a second, the photo was taken. And when he was about to leave, no, this photographer he said, "Don't worry, I have taken your photo." So I said bitingly, "Features? You didn't think I could animate them, I suppose, but let me see the picture." "Oh, there is nothing to see yet," he said. "I have to develop the negative first. Come back on Saturday and I'll let you see a proof of it." Now, narrator, no, he asked photographer to show his photo. He said, "Okay, never mind, let me see my features. You have taken my photo, let me see my features, how it has come." For that, this photographer says, "See, only negative is ready. I must develop this negative first. Only then you can see your features. You come on Saturday, you can see the proof," he said. Okay. The photographer beckoned me in. I thought he seemed quieter and grave than before. I think, too, there was a certain pride in his manner. He unfolded the proof of a large photograph and we both looked at it in silence. Saturday, this narrator, he visited he visited the photographer, and this photographer, he beckoned me. Beckoned in the sense he called him. Who called whom? The photographer called the narrator. He opened the proof. Photographer, he unfold the proof in the sense he opened the photo. Now, in a silence manner, they both looked at the photo. Who looked? Photographer and narrator, they looked at the photo. "Is it me?" I asked. "Yes," he said quietly. "It is you." And we went on looking at it. "The eyes," I said hastily, "don't look very much like mine." Now, looking at the photo, this narrator, he was little bit shocked looking at this photo. He was confused. Narrator, he asked photographer, "Is this my photo?" Photographer said, "Yes, obviously it is your photo." Then narrator, he said, "This eyes, it doesn't seem to be my eyes." Narrator, he asked photographer saying that eyes is not like my eyes, he said. Oh no, he answered. I have retouched them. They come out splendidly, don't they? Now, photographer said, no, sir, I have altered your eyes. Now, see how nice your eyes seem to be in photo, isn't it? Don't they, in the sense, isn't it? He meant to say, how beautiful your eyes, isn't it? He says, fine, I said, but surely my eyebrows are not like that. No, said the photographer with a momentary glance at my face. The eyebrows are removed. We have a process now, the Delphi, for putting it new ones. You will notice here where we have applied it to carry the hair away from the brow. I don't like the hair low on the skull. Now, after seeing the eyes, this narrator again asks, this eyebrow doesn't seems to be like my eyebrow. It is something different. Photographer said, yes, sir, I have even altered your eyebrow also. Your eyebrow, no, it doesn't seem to be good enough. So I have some techniques in my camera. With help of that techniques, I changed your eyebrow too. Oh, you don't you? I said. No, he went on. I don't care for it. I like to get the hair clear back to the superficies and make out a new brown line. Superficies in the sense? What do you mean by superficies? Outer face. And he went on saying, see, I like to give a new eyebrow, a new clear back, a new clear shape for your eyebrow. That is why I have made out a new brow line. New brow line in the sense, new eyebrow line. What about the mouth? I said with a bitterness that was lost on the photograph. Is that mine? It's adjusted a little, he said. Yours is too low. I found I couldn't use it. Now looking at the mouth, this narrator, he asked photographer, what about my mouth? My mouth doesn't seem to be as if it is my mouth. Then photographer said, yes, that is not your mouth, sir. I have even adjusted a little bit. Your mouth doesn't seem to be good enough. So I found I couldn't use it. I replaced your mouth, he said. I have also replaced your mouth, photographer said to the narrator. The ears, though I said, strike me as a good likeness. They are just like mine. Then he looked at the ears and narrator, he said, my ears seem to be like mine. Now photographer, he said, yes, said the photographer thoughtfully. That is so, but I can fix that all right in the print. We have a process now, the sulfide, for removing the ears entirely. I'll see if... Now narrator, he said, my eyes are not changed. I could see my ears are just like my ears. For that, this photographer says, yes, sir, I have not changed your ears. Your ears, I will change it when I make a printed photo, I shall change with the help of sulfide. I will remove your old ears and I will fix some nice ears I'll fix in your photo. There is a process where I can do it. When I bring it to the original print, I shall do it, he said. Who said? The photographer said. Listen, I interrupted, drawing myself up and animating my features to their full extent and speaking with a withering scorn that should have blasted the man on the spot. Withering scorn. What do you mean by withering scorn, children? Withering scorn, hatred. Now looking at this photo, this narrator, he was out of his control. He thought of blasting this photograph man beyond the limit. He thought of blasting him. Listen, I came here for a photo, a picture, something which, mad though it seems, would have looked like me. I wanted something that would depict my face as heaven gave it to me. Humble though the gift may have been, I wanted something that my friends might keep it after my death. Now this narrator, he really got so angry that he couldn't control his anger. He shouted at the photographer. He said, listen, I want my photo. Either I want my original face. Either my face is good or bad, it is up to me. It is I who should bother. That is not your duty to change the parts of my face. I want my photo to be an original photo. I am happy to the face what God has given me. And I came here to take my photo so that my friends could keep my photo after his death. No, he was saying, narrator was saying that his friends could keep his photo as his remembrance after his death. Recounsel them to my loss. It seems that I was mistaken. What I want is no longer done. Go on then with your brutal work. Take your negative or whatever it is you call it, dip it in the sulfite, bromide, oxide, cowhide, anything you like, remove the eyes, correct the mouth, adjust the face, restore the lips, reanimate the necktie, and reconstruct the waistcoat. Coat is with an inch of gloss. Shade it, emboss it, glide it till even you acknowledge that if is finished. Then when you have done all that, keep it for yourself and your friends. They may value it. To me it is but a worthless bobbly. I broke into tears and left. No, narrator, no, he was so angry that he blasted the photographer in a very bad manner. He blasted him. Recounsel in the sense to comfort and heal. No, he was really angry. He couldn't comfort himself. He said, now narrator, he started saying, photographer, it is my mistake that I came to your shop. I came here to take a good photo. I thought you are a good photographer and I came here. But your work is brutal work. What a nasty work you have. You take my negative and you dip in whatever liquid you want. Either you dip my negative in sulfide or bromide or oxide or cowhide, in whichever liquid you want, you dip my negative and you change whatever the part of my face you want to change, either eyes or eyebrow, mouth, lips, ears, mouth, whatever you want to change. No, you change all my parts of my face, you change it. Now this photo is useless to me. I don't want my photo. This doesn't seem to be like my photo. It seems like someone else's photo. You have this photo for yourself and for your friends. You either reconstruct this photo with waistcoat or with coat. Either you shape whatever shape you want, you give the shape to this photo. Either you emboss it in the sense, children, causing bulged out. Emboss, bulging. Either you emboss my photo or you glide it. Whatever you wish, up to your knowledge, you do my photo, finish it and hang this photo in your, you finish up this photo and have it to yourself. Now this photo is worthless. It is of no use to me. My photo has no value to me. It doesn't seem to be like my photo. This is not my face and I don't want this photo. Now this photographer, he shouted, narrator, he shouted at the photographer and he felt in tears. Narrator, he broke in tears and he left the place. Imagine, children, when you go to the photographer shop, when that photo is not like your photo, will you really be happy to take that photo, children? Will you be happy to buy that photo? Obviously, you will not know. It seems to be like some other person photo. Even a single part of our face is changed. Then our face is not like our face. It is like some other person face. Then how will you have the photo for yourself? You will not have, isn't it? So the same thing happened with the narrator. When narrator, he saw his face is changed, every part of his face, eyes, nose, mouth, everything, when it is changed, it doesn't seem to be like his original photo. It seems to be like someone else's photo. So, he broke into tears and he asked the photographer to keep the photo with him. He said he doesn't want the photo. Narrator said he doesn't want to have this photo as it doesn't resemble to him. Shall we go on with the author, children? Stephen B.H. Butler Leacock, FRSC, was born in 1986 to 1944, was a Canadian teacher, political scientist, writer and humorist. See, he was a teacher and then he was a political scientist and also a humorist. Humorist, na, the one who write funny stories where people could enjoy reading. He was educated at Upper Canada College in Toronto and the University of Toronto, from which he graduated in 1891. So, from where did he come, children? He was educated in Canada College from the University of Toronto in the year 1891. He received a fellowship in political economy and took the PhD in 1903. So, in 1903, he did his PhD degree. Between the year 1915 and 1925, he was the best known English speaker humorist in the world. In the entire world, he was the best speaking humorist. Speaking humorist in the sense, people like to listen to his speech and people they like to read to his work. Between 1915 to 1925, in entire world, he was known as the best speaking humorist. He is known for his light humor along with the criticism of people's follies. Sunshine sketches of a little town, Arcadian adventures with the idle rich economic prosperity in the British Empire. Children, these are all his work. The dawn of Canadian history, Moonbeam from the large lunacy, the unsolved riddle of social justice, My discovery of England, Wit and dry humor are some of his brilliant writings. So all this writing, children, what I read now, these are all some of his masterpiece writing. Through this writing, he became a familiar writer and well-known person throughout the world. Yes, children. Hope you would have understood the lesson, children. I want you to read the lesson, children. After my explanation part, I want you to read the lesson. Only if you read the lesson will be understandable to you, children. Do read the lesson. It's a request, children. After the explanation part, do read the lesson. At least once read the lesson, children. It will help for your better understanding.